Wow. I got about 17 thoughts there. One of them is you just described the mastermind group. It's to surround yourself with people that are like-minded with a common goal that can work together in a harmonious manner. That's how Napoleon Hill describes it. So that's part of it. But Dave, you read, you're a historian, and you're educated, and that's a compliment. You're self-educated beyond just other schooling. I mean, you don't just stop with the formal education. You're a lifetime reader. I like to read the dictionary. I've spent years and years having the dictionary be just something I like to read because, wow, it just teaches you so much and it's fun. And that's one thing my wife and I did. We bought some Oxford dictionary, which is the dictionary. It's like, I mean, the thing is like 2 feet big, and like, I mean, it's the biggest book. It weighs 30 pounds. And we've had a lot of time where we just like to do that, where we talk about a word. And if you're reading a book, this is a suggestion to everybody. If you're reading a book and there's a word that you're not familiar with, Google it. Go to the dictionary. I have to tell you, everything I do, I Google words all the time to make sure I know the right context of the word that I want to use. So I want to do a little word study here on this one for you. Industry. There's a variation of the word industry called industrious. So if a person is an industrious person, we're not talking about an industrial warehouse factory worker type thing, but I could relate that if you like. But if a person is industrious, they show that they have a lot of Ben Franklin's virtues. They're going to be hard-working. That's one of the parts of being an industrious person. They also show initiative because when they run out of things to do, they're going to replace it with something else. And that goes into another thing that I want to throw at you. When you stay busy with doing productive things and you achieve things that need to get done, when you get that big pile of stuff off your desk and get it done, you're going to end up having a clearer mind and you're going to be thinking better and you're going to have a feeling of satisfaction. It's going to build your self-confidence. But a little expression here, and maybe you know where this came from. Idleness is the devil's workshop. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. So Dave, did you come up with that one, or did I just think that that's where it came from?
I didn't come up with it, but I agree. If you want to find a good recipe for trouble, go put 6 16-year-old boys together with nothing to do on a nice summer's day, and they'll find trouble because it's just so. What's the point of that? My mother would keep us so darn busy for exactly that, knowing we'd find trouble. So we always think back to our mothers. I'm not sure where I was going with that.
Well, I was going to ask you, are you saying that from experience? And yeah, you had a good mother that kept you in the right direction, and so did I. But I was more of a latchkey kid, I believe, and was turned loose too soon.
Yeah, so I was talking with this industrious word came up about a couple of weeks ago. I had a friend visiting from out of town, overseas, very, very successful in the investment banking world, average intelligence guy who works just very, very, very hard, and really, really cares about his customers and the business, and really, really cares. But no smarter than the average person, but is done very, very well. And so we were talking about what does it take nowadays to get ahead, and somehow he used the example, which I thought was fascinating. He said, yeah, he said, and again, this guy is really, really senior, and he gave this example. He said, when I hire somebody, he said, sometimes you hire these young people and they went to great schools and all that, but they weren't really they worked hard, but they weren't clever, or they weren't industrious enough, or they didn't really care. And the example he used, he said, here's an example. He said, if I need to have a document get across town and there's all sorts of traffic jams, he says, I don't want to hear an excuse. He said, I want that person grabbing a bike and riding it across town themselves and not relying on anybody else. He says, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the person who just would not be stopped. They didn't see an obstacle and just cave into it. They found a way around it. And when he told me the story, I thought, my gosh, that is him. That is this guy. He would be the guy throwing some messenger off his bike, grabbing his bike, and throwing the guy $100 bill and saying, I need your bike. Sorry, I got to get this document someplace. My boss is depending on me. Others would fail. They would say, I couldn't get there. There was a traffic jam. But the people that work their way through the jungle, they don't give up. They're to be admired.
Can I just pick up on that?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about today's world, modern day people. And I got a friend named Gil at the YMCA. He's 92 years old. And I just wished him a happy holiday today. And I complimented him, and I said, Gil, you're an inspiration because you have used your mind and you've never stopped using it. And you've kept it active. And, you read all the time. And he said, you got to keep moving. And so that's part of it. But what I want to talk about is the people that are going to get that job done, that are going to find a way to do it. Benjamin Franklin probably didn't have this word back then, but creative problem solving, being a creative problem solver. And what I'm trying to say to you, for all of you that are listening, while we're doing this, I'm thinking, okay, a lot of us that are tuned in, we haven't spent a lot of time reading, and Dave and I are trying to encourage you to make some changes in your life and be motivated and go through it. And we're having these conversations so that you might hear some successes of other people or the qualities and things that other people did to get successful. But let's talk real simple for a second about people that have not been real successful, that are in trouble. When I was in the South Carolina Manning Reentry Men's Work Release Center, I went around the room and I was asking the gentleman there what are some of your goals in life? And one guy said it, first time I've ever heard it, but I wanted to give this back to you today, Dave. He said, to stop wasting so much time. And I went over and gave him a handshake on that.
I would have given him a hug. Did you gave him a handshake or a hug?
It was a high five, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a high five.
That's closer to a hug.
Yeah, but the thing was, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
But then I pointed at him and said, you're going to succeed because you got it right. That's the beginning. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you've seen your life not be what you would like it to be, maybe some of you don't even know what it could be because you've just been so dulled out by all the different adversities that you've gone through. So just take it from me and Dave here. Just start believing. Start believing. I'm going to slip in some scripture today because I hadn't done any yet. I didn't know what the show was going to be, so I just brought what I call some scriptures on not giving up, because that's a central theme that we always cover. Let me read a couple here. Isaiah 40:29-31. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. I had a pocket knife that I bought one time that actually my wife gave it to me. I picked it out that had that scripture on it because they will soar on wings like eagles.
Can I try to keep up with? I can't keep up with you. But how about Proverbs 10:4?
Wow.
Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth.
Yeah. That is absolutely right on. I got a friend there's 30 Proverbs, by the way, when I just was thinking that in my initial notes that I was taking when you were introducing me to today's topic here. And what I came up with was I got a friend who's a contractor. His name's Steve. Proverbs, there's 30 Proverbs. And probably for the last 25 years, he reads all 30 Proverbs every day of the month. I guess he gets a day off, and in February must have to double up one day. But that's where he goes. When you read those Proverbs, you're going to be immersed in positive things that are going to be in your head instead of wasteful things. And so, yeah, thank you.
Back to you.
Oh, I said thank you, but I'll continue. So I'll give you another beautiful one here. So Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Yeah, so let's put all this together just for a second since you threw it back to me. What we're really trying to do here is we're trying to encourage, inspire, motivate, and I'll just tell you the basic point when I travel around the country. I have a message of love, encouragement, and hope. And then I provide tools once somebody makes up their mind that they're ready to make the changes and move on. And I did get into a conversation with Donna, actually, when I came up with that once. She said, it ought to say love, hope, and encourage. And I'm not going to argue with my wife, but I told her what my thinking was. My thinking was this. People that don't have hope need to be encouraged so that they start to have hope. And if you try to get them into telling them all these wonderful things that they can be, to say that I want to help you have some hope, the love is the first thing no matter what else we're going to talk about. You've got to be in a loving mode with people. And, wow. I was just telling you before the show, Leopard is doing a lot of speaking. He's a trainer for TED Talks. The TED Talk he did on correcting the corrections, advocacy for mental illness, in less than a year and a half, he's had 360,000 people listen to his TED Talk on that subject. So Leopard is a person that I think I can quote him and say, you ought to listen to Leopard Fate. He's got some pretty strong advice here. And so when I talk about that, I guess the point that I'm trying to give here is that you need to, when you speak to other people, when you are trying to be there for other people, put them before yourself. And if you're worried about public speaking or just trying to speak, don't think about yourself. Don't analyze how well you spoke. Just remember the gift, the value that you're trying to give to someone, give it to them and make sure they receive it, and don't worry about yourself. If that's who you are, if you're just trying to do for others, put others before yourself, you're going to end up communicating and they're going to get something out of it. And then you're going to build that trust. And then you're going to build that respect. And then we can move forward together and figure out new ways to solve problems.
And people, I think that's great advice. People know who's genuine and people know who's not genuine. And if you're genuinely trying to help somebody and you don't do it perfectly, your intent is right, trust me, they will receive it well and understand and appreciate, because they know you care and they know you're trying to help. I think this notion of hope is, it's the key. People that give up hope, it's hope that keeps you going through tough times. It's what you say, you know what, I can put up with anything because I have hope. And literally everybody who's listening to this, you do have hope. There is hope. It's everything Steve continually talks about. It's reading. It's getting more educated. It's finding the right support mechanisms and putting yourself up there, because you can go forward. You can improve. You can have a better life. You've got to believe that. That's where it starts, and then you got to get off the couch. You got to go get in the game. You just have to do it. And it doesn't have to be painful. It may be awkward. It may be different. But you just got to get started. And everybody I know that struggles, when they do that, they feel better afterwards. They're taking control of their life.
I'm going to give you a trick question, Dave. You ready?
Fire.
What's the biggest cause of failure?
Giving up.
Never starting. Yeah, I told you it's a trick question. Hey, Dave, let's do this. We got about 6 minutes left,
Okay.
maybe 5. Let me throw the 13 virtues. This is the lightning round. I'm going to give you a virtue, and you sort of tell what it means, and you got to we've done about 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
So give each one about 20 seconds at the most. Are you ready?
Fire.
Temperance.
Eat not to dullness. Drink not to elevation.
Wow, okay, so that's one. For those of you that have a tendency to want to escape too much into just dulling the pain because you can't face reality, stop. What's the second one?
Silence.
Oh, okay, my note, I couldn't read it.
Speak not but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid trifling conversation.
Oh, wow. Hey, Dave, I'll give you something quick. I know it's within 20 seconds. The Lord gave us 2 ears but only 1 mouth. Listen more.
Perfect.
Oh, I hear that too much from other people. Yeah, order. You already covered order a little bit, doing things in the right
Let
order.
all your things have their places.
Okay.
Yep.
You've done resolution.
Yep.
Frugality.